What's up, guys? I have the new iPad mini with me, and I'm gonna let you know if it's worth upgrading or downgrading depending on how you look at it. So let's get started. The very first thing I want to talk about is the iPad mini's form factor. It is 7.9 inches compared to the larger iPad, which is 9.7. Now, when you put them next to each other, you'll notice that the iPad mini isn't really that mini. As a matter of fact, when you put the iPad mini on top of the iPad, it actually fits right where the screen is. So if you'll notice that it's pretty much the same, almost the same size, with the exception is that the iPad, the original one, or the larger one, has these edges. And these edges are about 1 inch thick, which is actually a good thing, and I'll talk to you guys about that in a second. The other thing you'll notice is that the iPad mini has the new proprietary Lightning port connector. And of course, all of the newer iPads will also have that too. The other thing that the iPad mini has that the other iPads don't is stereo speakers. Now, stereo speakers on the iPad mini sound really, really good. As a matter of fact, it's probably, on the smaller tablets, probably the best sounding speakers compared to any other of the smaller tablets that I've heard. The other thing that you'll notice is that the back is similar to the iPhone 5. It has this matte black, sort of like an anodized, really nice. I have to admit, it is beautiful and I really like it. The other finish you can get is sort of like a silver white kind of look. You'll notice that the actual buttons are also black, and if you get the other color, they match really well. So kudos to Apple, because I really like the way this looks. But aside from that, everything is virtually the same when you compare it to an iPad 2. The only difference is that it's a little bit smaller, but it pretty much runs the same specs, the same resolution, and that's where I think Apple missed it. This does not have a Retina display. If you already have a Retina display, or if you go to the Apple store and see a Retina display iPad, which you can only get if on the larger iPads, you will notice a huge difference. And I think when you see the price point on this guy compared to the larger iPad, it really doesn't make any sense. Now I know what you're thinking, well, Armando, this one's much smaller, but the fact is that it's really not. When you compare it to the larger iPad, the biggest difference is these edges. And when I was using the iPad mini and while I was web browsing, I noticed that when I rest my finger, when I try to hold it with one hand, a lot of times I was pressing on links and pressing on images. And I know what you guys have heard on the internet about finger rejection, which is something like this, that supposedly you rest your hand and it rejects the finger. That does not work when you're inside an application or a web browser. That only works here. And it's actually been on iOS forever. It's nothing new. I believe a certain company just made a big deal about it. But anyhow, that is the biggest disappointment, is that you actually do, it feels more comfortable with those edges. And I think that when you compare the size, it's not really that much portable. And if you haven't seen my Nexus 7 versus iPad mini review, go ahead and click on the link below, or just go ahead and push up here if you're on a computer, and you'll notice that the Nexus 7's form factor fits virtually anywhere. But let's talk about other things like the camera. The camera on this is not bad. I'll actually show you guys what it looks like. So let me give you a little sample of what that looks like if you guys want to buy one. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys. This is the iPad mini's video. This is what I use. This is a Canon 5D Mark II. So you guys could just see my office. It's a huge mess, so I apologize. But this is, I have a lot of goodies here. You guys know that? Look at that. How cool is that? Anybody know those, recognize those games? Now when you come over here, this is sometimes when I shoot some stuff. A bunch of camera equipment. And I'm going to go outside so you guys can see. This is the bathroom. Ooh, you don't want to go in there. Low light, so you can see it gets a little grainy, but that's normal. Let's go ahead and go outside so you guys can see. Waiting room. That's where my little one plays. Magazines. Ah, Steve Jobs. Look at that. Doo-doo. Go ahead and push. Now we're outside. Whoa, and that took a while to focus there. And this is what you can expect when you record outside. So you guys be the judge. It seems like it does pretty good, but I'll let you guys decide that. So as you can see from the video sample, it actually looks pretty good. And no complaints there. Love the rear facing camera and it works well. The other thing is that this is running iOS 6, but you are able to use Siri. Now on the iPad 2, I believe it did not get Siri, so I guess that's a good thing for the iPad mini, is that you do have that. Other than that, it's virtually the same iPad that you are familiar with or you've seen already. Again, the biggest difference is that you're losing those edges, and I think when you're actually holding it and using it, those fingers get in the way. Therefore, I cannot recommend the iPad mini, and I highly recommend you just, if you really want an iPad, just go with the larger one. You're going to get a better spec, you're going to be able to get the Retina display for just a little bit more, because with this, I can assure you that 6 months down the line, iPad mini Retina display with better hardware specs, and you're just going to be disappointed. Other than that, like I said, everything is the same. The only one last thing that I noticed is that the button here is a lot louder, and I'll post that video at the end of my video so you guys can see how much louder this is. But I don't know if this is just my unit or if it's everybody else's iPad mini, but anyhow, that's one thing I noticed when I was using it. It's very loud. Guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the review. Not much to say, you know, it's an iPad. What else? If you like technology, please subscribe to my channel. If you want to see what I'm doing, follow me on Google Plus and Twitter. I've left those links below. Again, if you want to watch the Nexus 7 versus iPad, I've also left that link down below. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you in my next video.